This morning we have him on Zoom. I'd like to welcome Congressman Michael Guest from the 3rd District. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you again, Michael.
Yeah, and Congressman Mike Ezell from the 4th District. These two guys are in one of their offices this morning. I guess it's in Congressman Ezell's office. We have them on Zoom here, and we wanted to talk to them because it's a big deal going on in Washington, D.C. right now with this. It's the first time in 150 years that an impeachment hearing has gone on. And a possible impeachment of a cabinet member, I guess, is what we're saying here. Before we get started, if you will indulge me for a minute, yesterday, Congressman Guest, you had a really great speech that you gave in the committee meeting. I'd like to play a little of that, and then we'll get started. Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I wanted to be clear here today that this is not political theater. What is happening today is we are attempting to rein in a rogue cabinet secretary that has failed to enforce the law. We are not talking about the fact that this secretary has breached the public trust. Just last hearing that we had on this, we saw the Democrats call in a congressional expert who said you don't have to have high crimes and misdemeanors. Their own expert in constitutional law says that a cabinet secretary could be impeached for a breach of public trust. And I will tell you that is exactly what we have with Secretary Mayorkas, that he has lied repeatedly to members of this committee. And then he lies when he says the border secure. He lies when he says that the border is not open. And we are not allowing, as we know, over 370,000 immigrants to flood across the border last month alone.
Just last month, 300 and some odd thousand immigrants across the border. That is unbelievable. That's 3 Super Bowl stadiums full of people in 1 month. Congressman Guest, we will start with you. Is Mayorkas a liar?
He lies repeatedly. He lies to the American public and he lies to Congress. He lies when he comes in and he raises his right hand and he swears to tell the truth. And then he tells us that the border is secure, that they have operational control. Those things are clearly not the case. And the numbers bear that out, Michael. You know, last month alone, if you look at nationwide encounters, 370,000. Southern border, a little over 3. I think it was 302. Nationwide, 370. 5 months in a row of more than 300,000 encounters nationally. And the border continues to spin out of control, and it lays directly at the feet of Secretary Mayorkas.
You know, it's like they're doing a little flipperoo on us right now, Congressman Ezell. We hear all of these things, and now all of a sudden, this is the Republicans' fault. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, they manufactured this crisis. And now they want us to fix it, and they want to blame us for it. And that is the typical Democratic playbook. They manufactured this crisis. They accuse us of not funding it when they won't even take up our bill in the Senate that we sent over there in March that provides everything that they need: additional manpower, additional money, additional benefits, additional opportunities to enforce the laws on the border. But yet they want to blame us for them sitting back on their hands for not doing their job. They manufactured this crisis and they want us to fix it.
It's amazing to me how they can flip on a dime sometimes and turn the talking points directly around against Republicans. Now, you guys have been working on this for some time. You're both members of the Homeland Security Committee, and you've been watching this unfold. Both of you, I assume. I know you have, Congressman Ezell. I think you've also been to the border, Congressman Guest. This is an amazing problem that this country is dealing with, where we have just millions of people. And the biggest problem that I see with this whole thing is not that there's millions of people, it's that there's millions of people. We don't know where they came from. What we know because of news reports that there have been people coming from even countries like Iran who are right now funding the killing of U.S. soldiers. Is this true?
It is true. We have hundreds last year who were arrested that were on the terrorist watch list. We have convicted felons every day who are coming across the border, some convicted of violent offenses, some that have committed sexual assaults on women and children. And those are just the ones, Michael, that we actually apprehend. You throw in the gotaways, those individuals who don't go and turn themselves in, those individuals who want to avoid detection. And why they want to avoid detection? Because, the statistics show, Mayorkas has told us that 85% of anyone who comes in the country and claims asylum is going to be released into the interior. And so what troubles me and what keeps me up at night are who are these people, who are the gotaways that are avoiding detection, that are in the country, that we have no idea about their background. We have no idea if they have some ulterior motive for coming in here. Could they potentially be some sort of sleeper cell put in here by a foreign government who dislikes the United States? Those are things that we don't know. And those are, again, the things that keep me up at night, and the fact that our borders is so porous, that we have such a surge coming across that we don't have the resources to adequately police who's coming into this country.
Congressman Ezell, we were in law enforcement together, and when they say this word "got away," I think of the maybe the guy who ran from us that we didn't, we never did catch him. Maybe we caught him later, or maybe he jumped off a bridge into the water somewhere, and we could. I don't know, but what do they mean here in this context about gotaways, and how do they know, or do they really know?
Well, I'll tell you what, we have 1.8 million we know have got away. And they are just not concerned one bit with these people that are in our country. Excuse me. 1.8 million gotaways. And that can either be ones that we know have gotten across the border that we couldn't get to, ones that have actually run from us, ones that have, by the numbers, the sheer volume of people that are coming across the country that we have had encounters with and have not been able to detain. And also the same ones that they have this catch and release program. I mean, they're catch and release just as fast as they come in here. So there's all sorts of ways to measure that, but we know for sure 1.8 million have gotten away. They're out in the country, and we don't know where they are.
And I'm assuming that this is our Border Patrol that you are talking to that tells you, hey, we saw, on our sensitive equipment or whatever, that this many people came through, we didn't get them, or videos of people coming through. Is that kind of how they come up with this number?
It's a whole host of things, and that is exactly right. And I'll tell you something else, too. We have got so many opportunities to close these things off, but the dang Biden administration has got the certain parts of the border with the doors welded open so that they can just pass through there just like they're riding a train.
It's shocking when you see these things that are happening on the border. But now, as of late, President Biden has been awakened from his slumber and says that you guys have to give him the tools that he needs. What could he do right now if he really wanted to close the border? Congressman Guest?
Yeah. I'll tell you, he could reinstate the Trump policies that were so effective, remain in Mexico. He could once again begin building border wall. He could quickly remove inmates. And that was one of the articles of impeachment against Secretary Mayorkas, is that Secretary Mayorkas is refusing to follow the law as it exists today. The Immigration and Nationalization Act says that he is to detain and to remove inmates, or to remove immigrants. And he's refusing to do so. And so I maintain, and I believe the sheriff agrees, that the president currently has the authority, as does Secretary Mayorkas, to close the border, but he refuses to do so. Instead, he is coming back to Congress asking for additional authorities. There is a deal that is being negotiated in the Senate that they have not included the House in those negotiations. We have no idea what that bill is going to look like, when or if it ever comes out. And the other thing you see that this administration continue to want is additional funding. President Biden said that. He said, the border's not secure. Give me the money. We don't want to give the president money to only process immigrants through the border that much quicker and that much more effective. I don't mind giving money to build wall. I don't mind giving money to close the border. But the money that we're going to give this administration, he's requesting, only will allow us to process more immigrants through the border in a quicker fashion. And it is going to continue the trend that we've seen, which is an upward trend with each and every month having more migrants come than the month before.
Show me the money. That's pretty much a Democrat talking point. We need more money, and more money will solve every problem, which we know that's not true. So you're going to have run us through this just a second about the mechanics of how this is going to work. We got about 3 minutes left. I'd like to understand, what is exactly the committee going to do about Mayorkas? How are they going to vote on this, and where does it go from here?
Well, at this point, there was actually a vote out of committee last night. Sheriff Ezell and I left committee right around 1:30 in the morning. The committee hearing began at 10 a.m. And so we had a 15-hour plus committee hearing, markup, if you will, on the articles of impeachment. There were many Democrat amendments which were really not germane. They were really just blatant political attacks, which were voted down. But shortly after 1 a.m. Eastern time, the articles of impeachment were voted out of the Homeland Security Committee along a party line vote, with every Republican supporting and every Democrat opposing. And at this point, we're awaiting Speaker Johnson to bring those articles of impeachment to the House floor. We're told that could happen as soon as next week. To bring the articles out of the House only requires a simple majority. So we'd have to have every Republican support this with retirements and with Steve Scalise out getting treatment for cancer. Republicans now control a one-seat majority on any given day in Congress. So it is imperative that all Republicans stand together and vote to impeach Secretary Mayorkas.
You know, I wonder sometimes, are there some Democrats out there that may be in some districts? Like I noticed there was one from Texas, a Democrat, I can't recall his name, that has really been raising a lot of cane about this border situation. Do you foresee the possibility that maybe a Democrat or two might come to your side?
I'm optimistic. If I was a betting man, I probably wouldn't bet in favor of it. But, Vicente Gonzalez, maybe the Democrat that you're referring to, he has repeatedly chastised the administration for the terrible job that they've done along the southwest border. But I think it's going to be very hard for any Democrats to break ranks and support Republicans in this cause. But look, Michael, it's the right thing to do. Even if the case goes nowhere in the Senate, because we know that it takes 2/3 of a vote in the Senate to remove a cabinet secretary. We as Republicans felt like that we had done everything that we could, and this was really the last tool in our toolbox to do anything to rein in Secretary Mayorkas.
Congressman Ezell, do you think it's the right thing to do, even if the Senate doesn't vote for this? I mean, should we make them be on record?
100%. We do our job like we did our job as law enforcement officers, like we did our job when Michael was a district attorney. You do your job, you present your case, and if the other side does not act, that's on them. We're doing our job.
That's right. Congressman Ezell, Congressman Guest, thank you so much. This is a first for us, and we really enjoyed having you. We'll have to do this again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
See you guys.
Boy, what a great show.